I don't know who I'm married to. I don't know who I'm with. It's the classic line of we're just roommates. If you want men to be honest, don't complain that they're too honest. If you want men to be open and emotional, don't complain that they cry. I went to therapy once and I didn't like the therapist, so now I'm never going back to therapy. I once ate food and it was rotten, so I'm never going to eat food again. No, like you got to keep trying.
So welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of the Authentic Man podcast. And today we're going to be talking about things that are deeply important to men, right? That we don't often realize are important to us, which is around the cost of our emotional avoidance. Though we don't often look at it that way, but our partners are telling us that it's happening. We're also going to talk about therapy and how sometimes we can use therapy as a way to actually avoid the things that we would like to move through and get over, and we create as a structure to kind of avoid those things. And also talking about the impact of having kids on our relationship, whether that's connection, whether that's intimacy, whether that's the kind of load that exists inside relationships. And today I have with us a wonderful man, a therapist who knows a lot about these topics and has sat with many people and with them in person, on Zoom, getting to know them, understanding the issues that happen in a relationship. And he also has a wonderful book, which is really all about how you manage and how you thrive in a relationship once you've had children. How are you doing today, Eli?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. Can I just say, can I steal your voice? Like your voice is so like soothing. Like maybe we should make an app of you just getting people to fall asleep. It's so calming. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you very much. It's I can't say something that I have curated. It's something that I was born with, luckily.
You were born that you woke up like this. That's it. You're just like, I'm just amazing. It's okay.
Thank you. I am curious about, you sit as a therapist, sitting down, talking to people, and you probably speak to a lot of women, because that's often who predominantly comes into therapy, right? But you probably also, I know you sit down with couples as well and understand what's going on for them. And this issue around men and emotional avoidance is very popular, more and more, I think, right, in the world. Less and less are we believing that this is kind of quote unquote how men are. And we're seeing that this is how men are socialized into being. So I guess the question for you is, when a man is in this space of emotional avoidance, what is he consciously and unconsciously protecting himself from?
Yeah, I think I love how it's so real that I talk to more women than I do men. But I would say the last couple of years, I've been getting a lot of men in their late 20s, early 30s to mid 40s going, hey, things that used to work are not working anymore, or things that never worked are really, really not working, and things are kind of blowing up in my face. Help me. Right, kind of thing. So that's like a huge honor, and I love that. I think one of the biggest things that we're kind of avoiding is being seen. I think I think women are conditioned to be small and petite and hide and be in the background, and that's not good either. But I think a lot of men are kind of, if you show your true self, you will not be loved. If you show your true self, there's a problem, or you've been reprimanded or yelled at or critiqued or told you're too much. Put it back in the cage, lock it up. Don't let people see that side of you. It's quirky, it's weird, it's big, it's angry, it's a lot. And I think that is where a lot of the either unconscious or conscious, I think the unconscious is that stuff of the messaging and the things that we've been told. But I think the conscious thing, specifically with couples, is if it has happened before with this person, right? Someone tells you, hey, no, you can't feel that way. That's too much. I don't like that. So guess what? I'm not, okay, I guess I'm just not going to talk anymore. Right? I feel a lot of men, when I work with them, do this thing. They go, okay, I'll just stop. Okay, I won't do it anymore. Okay, I give up. Kind of like hands up in the air, like, I will not do this again because it's just not worth it. The risk is not worth the reward of me just being honest, because I keep getting yelled at or screamed at or pushed away or dismissed for being honest, is a lot of the things that I hear men hiding behind, for good reason and for bad. But that's a lot of the things that I see.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I see something similar. There's this like being honest. There's a big cry for men to be more honest in relationship and, in the wider world. But there's also the experience a lot of men have is when I'm honest, the other person gets upset. And that means that what I'm being honest doesn't work, or it means that there's something wrong with what I'm saying and I shouldn't be saying anything. How wrong do you, how do you view that kind of dynamic when you see that in men?
Like the sassy thing that I say, and I'm a very no BS sassy person, so I apologize to everyone. It's just my way of doing it, is that like women want men to be honest. So you get what you ask for. If you want men to be honest, don't complain that they're too honest. If you want men to be open and emotional, don't complain that they cry. Like the joke I always make is there's a very famous Friends episode where Rachel complains that her boyfriend at the time, I don't remember his name, is played by Bruce Willis, was too intense, no emotion, couldn't get past and get deep. And the second she gets deep, he's like on the couch crying for like 2 episodes. And she's like, I can't handle this. I didn't ask for this. Put it back. Like close up the well. Like, this is too much for me. You can't just expect that if you want something that you get to dictate then how perfect or how curated it is. It doesn't mean that the man can't work on balance. That's his fight. That's his work to balance. Well, just because, and I don't want anyone to take me wrong that say, well, just because I want my man to be emotional, then now he's allowed to scream, yell, and abuse me. No, that's not what I'm saying, right? There has to be balance and it has to be safe and healthy. But if you want your man to share emotions, you get that. And that means all the range of emotions, not just the joy and happiness. It's the sadness, it's the anger, it's the frustration, it's the overwhelmed, it's the stressed. Well, I don't want my man to stress because if he stresses, then I'm stressed. Well, that's called a relationship, right? That you guys deal with each other and handle each other and help each other and support each other. That's what it is. So the big pushback I have is if we want men to be emotional, we have to accept what that comes with. Just like if we want women to be more emotional, right? Or whatever we want from our women in our life. I want you to be more like this because I would really love that side of you that you're hiding or that you're protecting. Well, once you open that gate, you got to appreciate that. And then you come to a conversation of what balance looks like for them and what balance needs for you, not shut it down. Never mind, pull the emergency brake. We need to stop. That's not healthy for anyone because all that does to the men in your life, it teaches them this like stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. When it's like, I want it, no, I don't. I want it, no, I don't. It's very confusing and it makes the men specifically shut down and not want to try. Why would I try if you keep asking me for it and I keep doing it and then you keep telling me, no, never mind, bad idea, back out. That's not fair.
And it erodes trust, right? Because if you say something and then I do that thing and then I feel attacked or I feel criticized for doing the thing you're asking for, I can't trust what you're saying to me. I can't trust that you really know what you want over there either.
Yeah. And I would say even like a little more intimate, like same thing like in the bedroom, right? If you're asking for certain things of vulnerability and to be more open and more honest about things and what you want and how you want it, and then someone judges you for that, that's extremely frustrating and rejecting. Why would I trust that person? Why would I trust this? You want me to be more open with you. You want me to be more real with you. And now I am. And then you go, ew, that's ugly. I don't like that. Okay. I guess I'm never doing that again. And it's this, and it's very unhealthy for men, right? Because it's a very all or nothing thought process that they can never try because they've been burned once or twice or 3 times or 4 times, right? It's like the classic thing I say, like, well, I went to therapy once and I didn't like the therapist, so now I'm never going back to therapy. Why? Right? Every therapist is different. You were different when you were 18, 22, and now you're 37. So what, you can't go to therapy again? Oh, we once had a therapist, or I once read a book and it was bad, so I'm never reading again. What the hell is that? That's ridiculous.
It's terrible logic.
I once ate food and it was rotten, so I'm never going to eat food again. No, like, you got to keep trying. The push I give to any couple, any relationship, when it comes to this idea of being shut off, figure out why that hurt or what needed to be shut off that felt too much for you. And then talk about that. Hey, can we try it with this little difference, this little nuance change, right? I don't like when you say X, but if you said it this way, I totally get what you're saying and I can actually understand that, right? The the thing I say in the book, and a lot of times when I work with couples, is like, you're not supposed to fully get and understand why someone's doing what they're doing. That's impossible, right? It's like a PC versus a Mac. They're both computers, or Android versus iPhone or whatever, right? They're both phones. They're both a piece of technology. How they work on the back end is very different, even though they serve the same purpose. Okay, and if anyone from Android starts like jumping on like, well, Androids are better because they're computers and iPhones are stupid, who cares? I'm just talking about just from a practical perspective, you guys work differently. So we need to understand how we work, what our calculations are, what our algorithm is that feeds the behavior, how we show up. So that's the goal. Stop shutting off the computer and saying, nope, reset, don't like that, didn't work well. No, okay, stay open. Let's understand what led to you doing that and how I can compute that better and how I can understand that and take that in better to do the function you need me to do. Versus, we're never going to try this again. It's never going to happen again. Don't talk that way. Don't speak that way. I'm never going to show up and be open again. No. I understand the frustration. I get why you're hiding. I get it hurts. I'm not saying you shouldn't be hurt. Express to your partner why that hurts. And then have an open conversation of what needs to shift. Literally 5% different, even 2%. That now changes like, oh, I could totally sit with that. Yeah, I could be that. Yeah, I can totally get that. That's a little bit, and find those avenues. Tweak it. Just keep tweaking. Don't just never start or never continue because it was a bad experience once. You would never live your life, ever.
Yeah. And it's in these areas, isn't it, where we're maybe emotional, like slightly untrained, or they feel a little bit scary, that when we do try one thing, like you said, we try and be emotionally open and it gets stamped on. We're like, no, I can't do that. It's these areas, because if it was, say, I don't know, we play a sport, right? We play basketball, and our coach says to us, dude, that's not the way to shoot. We'll go, oh, okay. Like, how do I need to shoot? Do I need to shoot like this? Do I need to do this? We'll tweak it happily, right? But in this area of like emotionality and showing ourselves, revealing ourselves, there's this, what it kind of reveals in this kind of all or nothing we described as almost this like a level of not necessarily immaturity, but just like a lack of growth and resilience.
I love that. And I think also the difference is, like, first of all, I don't know if I would be so good at a coach telling me that I sucked and I need to change. I also think it's how, like, your relationship with the coach, right? And how they talk to you. I don't know. I'm a big nerd about like documentaries and understanding. I love sports. Every time a new like documentary comes on Netflix that's like a sport, my wife goes, okay, I guess I won't see you for like 2 days, because I just like lock in and watch the whole thing. Even if it's like, for example, I watched the documentary on golf. I don't like golf. I like how people think. I like what makes an athlete get pissed off at a ball that doesn't move and they have to fight with themselves to do better when they are the best in the world. Right? Like, I love that. Or tennis. Like, I love the tennis. I love soccer. I love all that documentary. I love Ted Lasso. But that's because if you don't, you're an idiot. But I just started rewatching it. Genius show. But the idea is that with a shot or something in sports, it's very external. It's not me. My shot is a skill, right? It's a skill that I am being critiqued on, versus you suck. You are not good. You're not enough. That's an attack. It's my values. It's my personality. It's who I am as a being, versus like a sport or an athlete. Like, hey, people critique me and make fun of my wife. Always makes fun of my handwriting. I have terrible handwriting. It's okay. But like, okay, you're right. It's chicken scratch. I get it. Right? But if someone would say and read my book, that's my soul and my heart, and say, oh, I hate what you said, that's me. It's not the font of the book. Who cares? Okay, that was a decision that me and the publisher made. You don't like the font? Big whoop. But what I said, the content of my character, that's where it gets personal. And so I think the big thing is this. Like, I'll throw myself under the bus, right? I have ADHD and I get overstimulated. And I can sometimes go from 0 to 60 and get very upset, angry, annoyed, right? And I'm a big emotional person, so I'm a big feeler. I love big, I get upset big, I hug big, I kiss big, I'm all big, right? I'm also 6'2", I'm a big guy. Everything I do is loud and big. And that comes with its challenges. So for when I first was married to my wife about 11 years ago, my emotions were, I was just, being a newly married young kid. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to step on toes. I'm going to be. And then I started getting more comfortable, right? And if I would yell or scream, right, my wife should not like that. But it doesn't mean I'm wrong. But I need to learn how to have better communication and better control so I can express the feeling in a smarter way so that my partner can actually help and hear and support. So for men listening, it's not that you can't. Find what is the source, the essence of what you're trying to express. What is the pain point? What is the issue? And talk about that in a healthier way so you actually get your needs met versus screaming, yelling, or the opposite, which men do, quiet and nothing, right? Those don't help anyone. Even though, and my wife and I have had many conversations and let's be real, arguments about this idea. And she said, I'm allowed to talk about these things. Don't worry. I asked permission that like, well, I'm just expressing myself. You need to handle it and deal with it better. Yes and no. She needs to handle big emotions because I have big emotions, but I need to be better at expressing those emotions better for her to digest. Not don't ever express them again. And that's where a lot of men go is I guess I will just never express again. And they shut down and they isolate and they keep it all in. And it's one of the biggest reasons that in the world today, men have the highest rate of suicide because they're not talking. They're not expressing because the option is either go big or go home. That should be a good title of a good next book. Go big or go home. Ooh, David, we're going to write a book together. Go big or go home.
About emotions. Okay? Go big or go home.
About emotions in men. Okay, David, everyone heard it here. Publishers. No, that's a really like a good concept of go big or go home. Yeah. That's what men think. And I think, by the way, that's really conditioned. And I don't want to like blame everything on sports because I love sports. But like it's either you win the championship or you failed. Like I'm a huge hockey fan. I'm a big fan of the New York Islanders. The Islanders almost made the playoffs, but they had a better season than they were supposed to do because they're in a rebuild year. And I was like, oh, I'm excited. Yes, we're winning. By we, I mean they. I'm not winning, right? They're winning. But if they made it in the playoffs and they lost, it wouldn't be a fail. It's the mindset. We are in a rebuild year, but a team that expects to win, I don't know what soccer team you're a fan of, and I really don't want to hurt anyone's feelings of like, what's your team?
Arsenal.
Okay, I love them. I had a friend in studying abroad, right? If Arsenal was supposed to, like they had the best players and they're supposed to win and they don't, everyone would be like, well, that's a failure. They beat Manchester. They beat, Chelsea. They beat, I know some things, right? And they beat that's only two I know, right? And they beat, all these other Barcelona, all the other things. And they're in the cup, but they're like playing the Champions League or whatever it is. They should have won. That's a failure. Go big or go home is a very big tactic that a lot of men feel because it's either we're fully successful and we accomplish our things or we suck and we're not enough. And well, I guess if I'm not enough, what's the purpose? What's the point of being here? And they keep it in and if you look at the research, I know I'm talking too much, but if you look at the research by Susan David in her book, Emotional Agility, it's a beautiful book on emotions. And she does research on the difference between men and women. Women are brewers. They're constantly brewing the ideas. It's like a hamster wheel or like just going in their brain. Men are more consistently, of course, there's exceptions and everything, are bottlers. They take it and they shove it down. So it's like a soda can of Diet Coke where you drop those Mentos in and it explodes. That's what happened. Now, those are our triggers. Women don't need Mentos to explode. It's already right there. They're ready. They're ready to talk. They're ready to express. They're ready to go. They just need the right environment to just get it out. Men need something, unfortunately, to come out and express it. And usually imagine you have 5, 6, 7 things shoved down. It's going to come out with vengeance. It's like a volcano erupting. So the whole thing is that is not helpful or healthy. Don't go big or go home. Have small wins, small successes of little expressions, little conversations, smaller things where you're not bottling 40 things. You're letting it out little by little, like a pressure cooker, like letting the steam out, and find those ways and find those people who can do that for you so that you don't suffer. It's not fair.
Yeah.
I know I went on a whole tangent there. No, sorry, everyone.
I love the Mentos example. It's very powerful when you really, everyone's seen what it looks like. It's really And it is, like you said, brewers, I think of like just bubbling away, little bits coming out constantly, as you said. And as men, we're like, I think of the old, like glass bottles when they said like put the cap on, it just really does explode in that way because there's no regular places to like let that feeling and emotion kind of come out and be expressed. I have a question actually from your perspective as a therapist actually is, what is a partner's experience of a man when he's been emotionally avoidant in a relationship? Like, what does she say to you, and also what is she saying to him in the relationship?
So just to clarify, if they're not expressing, what the other person should do to get them to open?
No, what's their experience? What does it feel like for a woman when her man is just like bottling things up, emotionally avoidant inside the relationship? And like, what does she then come and sit down with you and say to you? And what is she saying to him in these moments?
The word is distance. Distance or disconnect. I don't know them. I don't know who I'm married to. I don't know who I'm with. And there's this loss of depth. It's the classic line of we're just roommates. I hear that this is the way I hear it a lot. We're a great team. But like that's what I hear often. We're a great team. That means taking care of the household, taking care of finances, taking care of logistics, taking care of the kids. We're a great team. We work really well together as a team. But when it comes to the intimacy and depth of our relationship, I don't really know them anymore. I don't really know I don't know who's next to me. And that to me is the sad part. And so a lot of women come to me and go, Ellie, I need your help. How do I open them up? So the few things that I say is you got to remind them that it is safe and then keep to that. Right? The conversation, like I said before, like, okay, you wouldn't just read a book once and say, I hate books and never read again. Like it's this idea of, hey, I have messed up, or I might not have been there the way that you have needed. I am willing to work and do the work to say, hey, let's try again. Let's try again. Re-engage. Don't just stop trying just because it didn't work or you're not getting that feedback that you deserve as a woman. So it's more of sitting back and saying, okay, hey, dude, bro, whatever cute thing you say to each other. I miss you. I feel like you're very far away. And I don't want that for us. So what do you need to be closer? Put it on them. And if they go, nothing, I'm fine. Like, no, don't let that happen. Don't let that go. Be like, okay, I know you're saying that. I'm really trying to work on giving you a safer place or an honest, real conversation without shutting you down and dismissing your feelings. I really want to know you. I want this to be deeper. And just sit there. Let them know that and wait. Keep reminding them once in a while, hey, when you're ready, I'm here. When you're ready, I got your back. I'm here to support you. But here's the kicker. When they do come to you, how are you going to do? As the partner, how are you going to handle that? When they finally do come, are you going to actually sit there? So there was a research study done years ago, and I tried finding the exact research study for my book when I put it in. I couldn't find it. I heard it years ago. I don't know where it is, so I'm not going to quote it exactly because I don't want to misquote. It was the top 10 things that people want in their marriage or in their relationships. And women wanted to be loved. That was number one. And how that is depends on the woman. Men want to be seen/respected. And a lot of men that I've worked with, especially when they're struggling with this, battle of enough and opening and being a real person to their partner and that being accepted or digested well, it's like I've heard like, I did the dishes and she didn't even notice. Mm-hmm. And in the session, the woman would be like, yeah, but like I asked you to do it. Or I do 70 things and you don't say thank you. Right? Then it gets into this comparison of who does more. All the guy wants is for someone to see them and love them and go, you are doing great and I appreciate you and I love you and I care about you and you are enough. Who you are today is enough. And the way I kind of help with like a practical, tactical tool is say thank you all the time. He'll go, that's it? I'm like, I promise you, it helps. So what that means is And this is for both people, by the way, it's not just for women, for men, it's for men to women, okay? Or anyone in the couple. Anything that is done in the household that you notice or recognize, whether it's expected, discussed, talked about, planned, like my wife did carpool this morning. When she came home, I said, hey, thanks for taking the kids. Why? Because she did and I didn't have to. Thank you. I see you. Show up in small ways. Say, I see you. I respect you. I see you. I care about you. That's what a thank you is. The second thing that a lot of men need, which in the realm of being seen, is validation. They just want to know that their feelings and emotions and thoughts matter. So validation, from a simple idea that people usually forget, is that it means I care about you and I care about the things you're saying, so it matters. Not I agree with you, not that I like it, not that I care about it. You said it, you matter to me, so what you say matters. Thanks for sharing. Hey, I really hear that. That matters, okay? Like, I appreciate you sharing that with me. Just do that. Start small. Thank yous and validations make someone, and that's the space you're trying to create. So when your man finally does come to you, try those things. Just validate. Don't question, don't ask, don't push back, don't dismiss. Hey, I had a really hard day. I'm really having a hard headspace. I'm really stressed about finances. I'm really overwhelmed about the kids and how they're going to grow up. Yeah, I really hear that. That's a lot. Do you want to talk about it more? But I first started with, I see you. Start there, always. And the same thing for men and women. That's it. Like, please do that too, of course. But we're just kind of talking in the realm of the opposite direction. So try those two things. See if that
Yeah. It's the simple things, isn't it? It's not because I think sometimes a bit in the ethos of go big or go home, as men, we are thinking it's like often really big things we need to do in our relationship to like save the relationship, make the relationship great. But like what you're saying there is, even though that's bi-directional, is like, just noticing like, I see that you woke up early to take the kids this morning. I really appreciate that. I see that, you cooked for all of us. Thank you for that. I'm really grateful that you cooked this. You found this new meal.
And it might be weird for people at first because either they've never happened, or they're like, well, yeah, that's our roles that we have. Like I take the garbage out. My wife goes, thanks for doing that. Why? She didn't have to touch the garbage. And it's funny, something happened recently in our life where like people weren't doing that to my wife and saying thank you. But she said that I've conditioned her for a positive thing. Usually conditioning sounds bad, but we've trained each other to do that for each other so often, to be thankful and grateful for what we do for each other in the house. Thanks for waking up early with the kids. Thanks for doing bedtime, bath time. Thanks for picking up that thing on the floor. Thanks for picking up, dropping things off at UPS and returning. That when people don't do it, my wife's like very sensitive now to it. She's like, oh, I cooked a whole meal for guests and no one said thank you. I said, yeah, people don't do it. It's an awareness. Like, oh, I picked someone up from the airport and they didn't say thank you. Like, she's like, Ellie, you ruined me. You conditioned me like that people should say thank you. I'm like, no, I'm loving you. It's not my fault that people aren't doing it. This is a good thing, right? So just something to be aware of, like just simple thank yous make people feel very seen and respected for the efforts that they make, whether it's a given or not. We're all doing our best. So why shouldn't we just see people for that?
Yeah, super powerful. And to change direction a little bit, as someone who sits down in the therapy chair with a lot of people, how often do you see that people kind of come to therapy less to change and more to just have their existing view of maybe their relationship or their world just reinforced by someone else?
I think a lot. I don't think it happens as often. But I do think that I have had couples work with me for one of the people to go, see, Ellie said it was healthy. I told you. Because they want someone just to go like, oh, I'm not crazy. But if I have a client ask me like, hey, can you talk to my partner about XYZ? And I go, okay, why do you want me to do that? Is it for their benefit or for yours? Because I'm not here to convince them that you're right. That's not my job. My job is not to pick sides. I'm here to help both of you. And they go, well, this, that, other thing. And sometimes I use that, by the way, as a helpful tool. So for example, like if I am trying to implement a tactic in their relationship and I'm working with the individual for their relationship, I go, you can blame me. Throw me under the bus. Say, well, Ellie asked me to do this. Like I use it like, oh, my therapist thinks this is a good thing. Just don't make it about you. Like make me the enemy. That's okay. I'll take that. I have broad shoulders. I'll handle that. But in the practice, when it comes to like the two people in the same room, I've had people look at me and go, so isn't that this, then the other thing? And I love their face when I push back on it. And I go, well, there's a nuance there. And like, you're not 100% right. And they go, what? What are we doing here though? I thought, wait. And there is this like, you know, I'm better than you. I worked on all this stuff and I know, and good for you. You read a lot of books and self-help books, but now you're in therapy and it's live and it's here. And you are right in some ways and you are wrong in others. And we need to tailor that to this relationship and not just a general book that is for masses. So it is funny to see what people like kind of use. I just love when people use like therapy words because they've watched TikTok and Instagram and they come to therapy and they're like, oh, I think I have codependency. And I'm like, oh, why? I think I'm a narcissist. Oh, really? I think I have bipolar. Oh, okay. Like they're gaslighting me. And I go, oh, okay. Why? And I go, what does that mean to you? And then it's like that let's learn, let's educate, let's really get an honest understanding of what these things mean. And if it's true, and if it is true, great, let's work on it. And if it's not, stop using those damn words. Like it's not real. I just love when people do that.
Yeah, I see that a lot. And another question around this is like, what does it look like when someone is like highly self-aware? They've read the books, they've spent their life on TikTok and Instagram, they've listened to all the podcasts, but nothing is really shifting in their lives.
Yeah. It's called intellectualizing, right? So it's when everything's just stuck in the brain, doesn't get to the heart. And I think people like to say that they're healthy and do all these things, but you know, healthiness is not like what we express. Like it's not like external. It's in our heads. It's in our heart. Like it's inside. And I think when someone I think they're afraid to actually grow. They do all the external things. Well, I read all the books and I listen to the podcast and I'm on TikTok and Instagram and my feed for you is all, you know, Jay Shetty and all these, you know, and of course, David Chambers' podcast and all these other things that are awesome. But like, I'm not taking it and internalizing it to my life. I keep it here. I'm not letting it get deep. Because like that would be scary, or I don't know how that's going to be or whatever. But I think people are afraid. And I think the people who do really change don't need every single book. They don't need every single podcast. They don't need every single, like they pick something, they work on it. They either do better, like I always say, 5-10% better is like the goal. It's not like stop trying to like change your entire world and be like 90%. That's impossible. That's insane. But like these small wins and growth is really important. So like find those things and do it for real. Don't like show everyone. Don't like be a show off. Like, look at me. I listen to all that's all for other people. Do it for yourself. If a podcast really impacts you, think about it, journal about it, work on it. Really make that change. Let it flow over you. Let it internalize into your heart and become a reality versus just keeping everything right here for safekeeping, just in case, and like using it either to, you know, push on others, right? That's a lot of people. Well, I read all these books and I'm smarter than you and I'm better than you. If that's why you're listening to podcasts and reading self-help books, like you got problems. You got real problems that you're trying to use. You're using intellect and you're using like this information to put others down. Maybe look inwards, like put it inwards. Stop putting it outwards. We shouldn't like, even I don't do that, by the way, just so we're clear. One of my clients asked me like, how do you turn it off? I do. It's not my job. When I'm working, I don't sit there and go, you're stupid. And I don't attack people in my business. And even in my own life, I am not sitting there psychoanalyzing and telling others, well, I read this podcast and I wrote a book, so you should. Yeah, I wrote a book. Good for me. I read a lot of books. And now I'm going to like tell you how to live your life. We're friends. Our daughters are best friends. What am I going to sit there and go like, by the way, maybe you should try. If you ask me a question, that's different. And I always do this thing. When someone asks me a question, I'm like, do you want friend or do you want therapist? What are you asking? What are you asking me for? What role do you want me to take? But like, if you're sitting around like, well, I listen to podcasts and I read all these books and I'm just going to go around on the internet just trolling everyone that they're stupid and disgusting human beings and I know better, that's a you problem. Like, do better. Like, that's not what it's for. Self-help is for self. It's not abuse others. That's not the book titles. It's self-help. It's for you. So like, do it. Let it internalize. Don't be afraid. It's okay. Nothing bad's going to happen.
Yeah, I see this a lot where people, they use the knowledge, like you said, they keep it here. It's just slightly outside of them and it's always faced outward toward other people. It's like a light they're holding, you know, their little self-help therapization light where they're like, oh, look, this person over here. Or I think my uncle, he's a narcissist. When he does this and he does these things and he gaslights me in these ways and we like shine on other people. And then, you know, these people are interesting because you go, so what about you? What's your thing then? And they're like, oh, I've worked on myself. And you're like, fuck you. Fuck you. Stop lying to me.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's what I do.
Really
but that's my thing. My style in therapy is no BS, where I go, okay, you're talking about them all the time. What about you? Yeah. And they're like, no. I'm not here for me. I'm here for them. I'm here for him to change. I'm here for her to change. She's the problem or he's the problem. No, we all are the problem. We all have things. We all have things. No one's perfect. So we all have things, but I love when people like are always pointing fingers outwards versus inwards. What's that classic? I don't know. This is like a classic cliche, stupid thing that you've heard. Like when you point one finger towards other, you have three pointing back at you.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe you should focus on yourself kind of thing. I don't know. I heard that years ago. I don't know why that just stuck in my, well, that stuck out. So I was like, you know, when you do this, one finger's pointing out, but you got three back. Maybe you should look at yourself.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in this social media world where everyone's diagnosing their exes as narcissists and avoidance and this and that. And
what's that? But also like, just to push back on that, what does that do for people? So what?
It makes them feel superior.
Maybe that just makes you feel better that you're not the problem in the relationship. But guess what? The relationship's over. So move on. Who cares? Who cares?
And if you were probably part of the problem.
Yes, you had to be part of the problem. You had to be. The only reasons you're not part of the problem if there was massive physical and sexual abuse or someone who was extremely narcissistic and didn't show you love and care about you and abused you for years. But like other than that, like the normal day-to-day relationships that don't work, it's both people. It's communication issues, it's value issues, it's logistical things, timing. Maybe you got baggage and they've got baggage and it's coming up. But to sit there and go like, okay, here's what the problem is with my ex. All that does is you're trying to make yourself feel better that you weren't as much of a problem. But in the end, the relationship's still over. The relationship's over, so who cares? Who cares who the problem was? Move on to the next person. Move on to the next thing. Move forward. I think a lot of us are really stuck with looking backwards. And even as a therapist, I do not go to your childhood and analyze your childhood as much as other people do. I don't like that stuff. I'm right here, right now. What is bothering you today? What is the issue today? Well, look back on context. Context does matter. I need to know who you are and where you come from and your values and your culture and things about your childhood as context. But to hyperfixate on past things is not helpful for today going forward. It just gives me context to what the situations are that shape you. But now we still have to move forward. Like I heard this thing again, something years ago, that if life is like moving up a backwards escalator, if you stop moving forward, you end up going back down. Right? You have to keep moving forward. So people who are like online going, well, my ex is this and they suck. Let go of it. You've been out of the relationship for 6 months. Why are you still harping on it? There are people who want you in their life today. You deserve to be with these people here and now, today. Who cares what diagnosis these people are? Who cares what your uncle is? Who cares what diagnosis your parents have? You still don't have to hang out with them. If they're just annoying pieces of garbage and they push your buttons or they are mean to you and don't give you the love that you want, that's the only reason you need. You don't need to come up with some good reason why you shouldn't be around other people. You're an adult. You want to make a decision, make a decision. Well, my boss is a narcissist, that's why I'm leaving. Maybe it's that you just hate your job or you hate your career or you don't like how much you're being paid. That's okay. You don't have to make excuses. I think a lot of us make excuses for why things are bad instead of just being real and honest that I'm just not happy. I don't like it. Something's off. Okay. We like try to use these fancy terms and technology. Like, stop it. You don't need to be all technical. You're going to be okay.
in that other piece is like when you're blaming the other, they're a narcissist. You're not taking responsibility. When you say, I'm leaving because this relationship isn't good and I'm leaving, you're taking responsibility for what you want and what you don't want. Whereas when we're all fixated on the past and our ex and our parents did this, it's like the responsibility shifts onto the other. Like it's just something I see subtly happen, and people are like, they don't want to take it's an agency and going, this is what I want and this is what I don't want, and I'm going to take action related to that.
But see, that's such a beautiful shift of word, right? It doesn't mean that stuff didn't happen. I just had a client ask me yesterday about perception and how, like, your perception and vantage point. And I told her to watch a movie called Vantage Point that was in like the early 2000s. It's not a very popular movie, but it goes through like a terrorist attack and some like political thing. And in the movie, it starts at the same point from multiple different people's perspectives and then comes and culminates at the end. It's a really cool way of just thinking about this idea. You have your vantage point of your childhood. Who cares what your siblings think about their childhood also? If you have a problem with your childhood, or you think your parents were XYZ, or your ex or relationship was XYZ, good for you. Agency and accountability is not denying that ever happened. It's not saying it's a lie. It's just saying, well, what am I going to do about it now? So there's this idea in DBT therapy called radical acceptance. And I use this very often with clients when they're like stuck in their head about these things. And so it's a 3-parter. It's what happened, I feel, now what? You're not denying, you have to have all 3 parts for it to help. What happened? The facts. And that could be my perception, my expectations, memories, experiences. This is what happened to me. Well, I'm feeling whatever that is. Okay, well, guess what? What is the empowerment part? What is the accountability part? Here's what I'm going to do about it. Not what are they going to do about it to make me feel better. If you're relying on someone else to apologize or convince you that it didn't happen that way or everything's okay, you're giving too much power to other people. You have the power to say, you know what? They can do what they want. They can live their life. I don't have to like it. I don't have to enjoy what happened. It could be one of the worst things ever. And I don't have to touch it. I have to decide what I'm going to do for myself going forward and what works for me in my life. And if that person ends up apologizing, or if it ends up being a productive thing where they do make the changes, or some outcome happens that does now shift their perspective, that is just the extra sauce or the cherry on top to the growth that I did for myself, like the choice I made. But we're looking towards other people to fix it for us. We're looking towards other people to blame. We're looking towards other people to make the changes so that we then can grow. You don't need them. You don't need them to grow. And I can't believe I'm quoting this person, but like Mel Robbins, let them let in, right? Let me, right? Let them do what they want to do. The concept is great. Let them do what they want to do. I still need to make growth. I still need to do my thing. I still need to figure it out. And that's the accountability of self versus letting others have that control. Don't let them have that control. That's not their job. That's not fair to you. They don't deserve that.
No, you deserve better. So I'll shift gears again into, I know a topic that you talk about in your book is this, and something I see a lot in couples and families is intimacy after children. There's a lot of stereotypes and cliches around, you have children and you completely stop having sex, you sleep in separate bedrooms, everyone's too tired to even be close to each other. And, having kids brings a lot, adds a lot of extra weight and things to do. We can't deny those things. But what are people really missing? It's not so much they might say sex and so forth, but what are they really missing when they say that the intimacy's disappeared or the sex has disappeared?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that people are missing is that they expect everything to stay the same. Right? In the beginning of my book, I didn't know that the introduction was not considered chapter 1, so it threw me off on when I quote the chapters. I'm like, oh, the introduction. I think in chapter 1 or chapter 2, I talk about the idea of the Holy Trinity. It's like a theory that I don't know if it's mine or whatever. I use it. I use the terminology often when I work with clients of the interplay between your expectation and perception and how that impacts your reality. If we had no kids and life was set for us, that we did certain things certain ways, and we enjoyed each other in certain ways, we had sex this way, this often, that, and we were able to go away for the weekend and have a holiday here and have an experience there and do this and date night and all those things, the expectation is now set for how it's going to be. The problem is that we don't realize that we know that things are going to change. We're not idiots. We know that life's going to change after kids. We don't know how it's going to change, and we don't know what that actually means to the practicality of what that expectation has been set. Well, now our perception is that something's wrong with us. There's a failure. There's an issue here. There are issues. You need to pivot your mindset. Okay. Here and like what I say to people is right here, right now. In today's world, with what you have on today's tap, what is the expectation for today? Not what it used to be, not when you were dating, not when you first started getting deeper and all those other things, but right here, right now, with a kid, what does that look like? Talk it out with your person. What is the now expectation of how things want to go? Not how they should go, not how they used to go, but how are they going to go today? How are they going to go tomorrow? Right here in this reality. And that is where people get really stuck on. It's this grief. It's like this loss of a sense of excitement and sense of self that used to be. You're right. It used to be that way. That's why I'm using the word used to. It's not today. So reset, pivot, have those conversations. Oh, here's how, okay, so we can only have date night once a month? Hell yeah, let's do it. We're going to make the most of that. Well, we used to have date night once a week. Good for you. It's not like you can never do that again. But in the here and now stage of a kid who's 2 or 2 kids, 3 kids, in the state of life that you're in, that's not the possibility. Again, radical acceptance. This is happening. I feel. Well, now what are we going to do about it? Okay, let's be real. Let's be honest. Let's be practical. And that's where it gets lost. Like, oh, I haven't had sex in 6 months. Okay, talk about it. What does that mean, intimacy? Do we need to change it up? Do we need to maybe have sex in the morning versus at night? I don't know. What's the schedule now? What's life look like? What does support look like? What do we need? Versus, well, it was so easy. Yeah, it was easier then. Now it's a challenge. Now it's different. But are you gonna change? Are you gonna grow with it? Are you gonna be stuck in that past and hold on to that as the only thing that's true? Or are you gonna try to make a change? Are you gonna try to, like I always say, like burn that sense of self, burn that past. What are you gonna do today? What are we creating new every day with each other that is the reality of today? Is really what's important when it comes to this change.
Yeah, I really feel that. There's this, and the word you use there is kind of creating, isn't it? Because so many couples, you become used to sex and intimacy just as happening without any real effort because of the fact that, especially before any children, it's just the two of you, like you're hanging out doing nothing a lot, or you're hanging out going and doing things you love doing, dinners, date nights, like shows, whatever it is that tickles your fancy. And through that ease and enjoyment together, the intimacy, the passion, the chemistry flows really easily, right? And then you throw in a couple of kids and suddenly, your daycare, you've got sick on you, you're driving them here, you're driving them there, they're messing up your office, and you don't have as much of that energy just naturally flowing through your life. But what it takes is some deliberate creation in what you're saying, like some attention and effort.
You got to choose every day what you want to. You got to choose. It's a choice. It's very active. You have to choose. How am I going to spend today? And it could be it might not be anything exciting. It could be that the choice today is that I'm going to go watch this while you go watch that and we recover individually. A choice could be, hey, I'm going to do a small thing of love, like a squeeze of a tushy or a kiss on the forehead or a big hug or an I love you. Or I'm going to make you breakfast, or I'm going to make you your coffee. That's my choice for showing you love. And I think we need to just revitalize what intimacy is for us today and what that choice looks like, and coming to a better understanding of the other person also opening their mind and their heart of awareness that is the choice you're making. Oh, look at them. They're showing up for me. Look what they're doing. Look at them. They folded the laundry and they took care of this. Wow, that's really, I feel very loved right now. Versus like some, crazy over the top thing that used to be able to happen. Now it's the smaller things that matter. And it's that choice that I am choosing you with the ups and downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I am choosing you and what that means for me today. It doesn't mean there won't be bumps. It doesn't mean there won't be arguments. It doesn't mean there won't be hardships. But it means that I am actively thinking about how we can connect today. And for some, that's a cute text. Some, it's a little like cutesy note they leave on the fridge. Again, it doesn't have to be, but don't forget about the big things too. Like try to schedule them in, make efforts. And something that I really urge a lot of couples to do to like have a deeper intimacy is intimacy doesn't have to be sex. It shouldn't only be sex. It could be game night. It could be long conversations, asking how someone's day is, maybe putting the kids to bed and having dinner, just the two of you, and, you know, not being interrupted a million times for water and this, that, and the other thing, and trying to get kids fed and shove food down their throat, but also then bath and bedtime and all the craziness of the world. When that happens, then you sit and you make your favorite meal together, right? It could be that. It could be that you save the favorite show to watch with each other, and that you know the other person isn't watching it without you. And that means a lot because they could, right? It's the thinking ahead and planning a date night and making the effort, right? And really like showing up that way. But you got to talk about it. So the tactic I have is called the check-in. So this could be a weekly or nightly thing where you sit down, and I always make the joke that like, we're all scrolling on our phones anyways at nighttime, like, or we're watching or doing something. So cut it off like 10, 15 minutes before you want to go to bed and sit there and look at your partner. This is two ways. It's not, I'm just saying one way, but it should be both people doing this. What's on tap for tomorrow, right? You're showing care for logistics of who's doing what, and then you're aware of what they're doing, and you know what your role is, you know their role. I'm doing carpool, I'm taking the kid to soccer, I'll do dinner, blah, blah, and then you can say thank you, like we talked before, about what someone's doing. The second thing is, what do you need from me other than that? What do you need from me? That could be emotional, that could be what's not the logistics, but could be a list of things or taking care of things. I'd really appreciate it if you had time to take care of this thing that's really, you know, needs to be done at the end of the week. Could you text your mother about this? Can you plan this thing? Okay. The last question is, what do you need for yourself? What do you need for yourself? That shows the intimacy of care. Well, what do you need for yourself? You know what I need? I really need a hug tomorrow. I would really love 15, 20 minutes of quiet time in the morning so I can have my coffee in peace. I really love to go to that run that I've been pushing off. I'd really love to go to the gym. I'd really love to go hang out with my friends tomorrow. That would mean a lot to me. And those three questions, if we do it once a week or every night or every morning, depending on when is best for you, can really show that choice and connection today. It's really right here, right now, versus like, also it helps avoid the arguments of like, it's all been on the calendar for 7 weeks. How do you not know what's coming up? Who knows what happened yesterday? This is the reality. What's on tap for tomorrow? Okay, I'm going to remind you. And then we can be on the same page. But also it shows like, what do you need? I care about you.
Yeah. And it's so interesting how like it can be practical. It doesn't have to be mystical. It doesn't have to be magical.
I'm very into the simple, practical things that like are small that make big differences. I'm not into this like, just love and your heart will soar and everything will be magical. Marriage and relationships are not magical. They are the thing I say very often is like, this is a skill that you've never been taught before. You have to practice. You did not wake up one day with love in your heart and all the beautiful ways of how to communicate perfectly and well and good. This is a skill you have to learn. And that skill requires you to pivot and adjust depending on what challenge comes that day or that week or that year. You need to learn it. You should not be expected to just know these things. So give yourself grace, learn, and have a skill. This is not magic. This is not magic. This is a practical tool, a skill that you need to learn. We all do, myself included. I mess up every day and I learn from that, but it's a skill. So read the book From I Do to We Do. It's a skill. There's tactics there. Listen to podcasts, read books that you're not going to use to hurt other people, but to help yourself, right? Look at Instagram and TikTok if that helps you to learn for yourself. And it's a skill. Keep practicing it. Don't give up. Keep trying different ways that you can really hone this beautiful skill of communication and connection and intimacy. But it's not magic. It's nothing. It's not this like, it's not Disney. I wish it was. I really do. I wish it was Disney, that Mickey and Minnie are there forever and, you know, and this beautiful like singing and song. And there are moments like that. There is beauty. But that's because you guys are working on it together. That's the beauty, is that you're doing it. Like it's your hands. You know, it's your effort that makes it beautiful and magical. Not this fairy dust.
And like a lot of what I'm hearing you say, even through the episode, but in particular in this piece about intimacy, is like it's about attention. So you talked about putting your attention on the loving things that your partner is doing for you, the loving things that you're doing for your partner as well. And intention, the intention of sitting down and having that conversation every night or every week. It's these very subtle things, but they're also very potent, right? Because the attention, one could call that like loving awareness. I was speaking to someone on the podcast yesterday and he talked about loving awareness. And part of that is like, oh, my partner has done the washing today. I can smell it. It's on the dry soon, which is an amazing device. It's changed my life. And you smell it and you think, oh, they've done the washing. And you think that is an act of love. It's a tiny thing and maybe it's for them too, but it's an act of love. And you can start to put your attention, all this love that is flowing to you and from you that's inside your relationship. Because as humans, what we have a habit of doing is we put our attention on what is not right and what is not working and what we do not like. And that becomes the perception by which we look at our relationship through.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that's too easy. It's too easy to find the bad. It's so easy. Come on. I can do that 70 times a day with everything in my life. And our brain is in tune to that. Don't be lazy. Don't be lazy with love. It has to be active. It has to be intentional. I love that word. It is very intentional. And I get this pushback on this. Ellie, that's so much work. Hell yeah. Having a healthy relationship and a healthy marriage and a healthy home takes a lot of work. Grow up and do it. If you want it, you asked for it, right? You signed up for the relationship. You asked for it. And if you asked for it, do it. Do your best. It might not be perfect. It's not 100%. Some days you only are able to give 20%, whatever that is, but do it. You asked for it. It is active. Go out and do it. Don't be lazy. Don't fall in the routine of expecting things to just work out. It has to be something that you take with your own hands and work on it and do it every day. And yes, it is a lot of work, but that makes it really worthwhile and makes it beautiful when you actually accomplish the things and you have those moments where you're like, oh, crap, that was great. It worked. Oh, wow. And you're like, that was us. We did that. Yeah, you did. But that takes action, not laziness, not just, again, fairy dust and magic. You gotta be there. You gotta show up. And it will click if you do the work and you do it right and you do it well, it will click.
Is that something you see with people, is that they kind of think it should be effortless and easy?
Yeah. Well, they say they love me. Why don't they know how to do it? They say, we're in a marriage. Shouldn't it just be like XYZ? No, it shouldn't. It's very difficult. Like, it's very difficult to be in a relationship. But like, people think like, well, they say they love me and, we've been together for this many years. It should just be, it just happens. No, it shouldn't. Stop expecting these things. Like, it takes effort and it takes change and it takes mindset shifts and it takes work because life is changing. So do you. But people do expect, they're like, oh, we're in a relationship. Everyone should know how to do it. No, not everyone does. It's a skill because they need to learn your way of love and you need to learn their way of love. Just because you have a way of love doesn't mean everyone loves that way or learn that way. It's a skill on how that person works, how you work, and making sure it melds and works together. That's hard. That's very hard.
And Ellie, I was thinking this question to finish up with, actually, you might have said it already, but if there was one thing that people knew about, resentments. We haven't touched on directly resentments, but we've kind of peppered a little bit of resentments in there. There's one thing you wish people knew about resentments, people in relationship knew about resentment. What would that thing be?
Such a big topic, but I think with resentments, I think the big thing that we need to realize is that people are going to make mistakes. People are going to mess up, whether they know it or not, whether it was purposeful or not. We need to give people the benefit of the doubt and grace. That if we say that we love them and they love us, and we truly care about them and they truly care about us, that they're not doing things on purpose. They're not trying to be a butt. They're not trying to be annoying. They're not trying to be mean. If they are, it's a different conversation. But the resentments come where we are only in tune to the negatives and the problems that happen, and we don't let them go because we don't allow ourselves to see the good too. Because there is good there. There are positives. That's why the thank you thing is there, right? Because your brain, from a scientific perspective, cannot be grateful and negative at the same time. It just can't. So you can't hold a grudge and be angry when you're also being positive and thankful. It shuts off that part of your brain, actually. So when we are just looking for the negative, trying to find the negative, only open to the negative, searching for the negative, we're in that mindset of they're a problem, they're a problem, they're a problem. Well, I want you to just, and I don't know if this is going to be a video. This is a video? Okay, so the video is this. This is what we are. It's called treasure hunting in positive psychology, right? We're only looking at the negative, so we are blind to anything else. All I'm asking you to do is move it here. Just take the blinders off a little bit. The negative still exists. I'm not saying delete it. It's in your peripheral vision. You're not getting rid of it. The negative things do exist. They left this on the counter. They forgot to do this. This is on the floor. The toilet seat's up. They yelled at our kid. All the negatives there. I'm just saying, give yourself the opportunity to also see the positive. That's positive hunting. It's not silver lining where you force a positive to a negative. It's that positive and negative do exist at the same time. They're both there. Are you willing to see it? Are you willing to open your eyes to it? Or do you just want to see the negative and then resentment really builds and you're like, well, this mother effer, I'm going to kill them today. Yeah. I always hear like, I'm so tired of them. Their breathing even makes me upset. You are in such a negative space that someone's breathing is bothering you. You could only see the negative and you're not allowing yourself to see the positive. And you're training yourself to only see what is wrong versus also seeing what can be good, what can be neutral, or what can be right. So allow yourself, let go, allow yourself to see the good too.
Beautiful. I studied Tantra for a number of years, and it's a very tantric point of view to look at life and relationships with, looking at what's beautiful, looking at what's good, looking at what's loving. But it's actually something that in our world where I see people are moving towards wanting things that are frictionless and easy, it actually becomes the actual work, isn't it? It's to look at what's loving, look at what's beautiful inside our own lives, but also inside our relationships.
Yeah, I would suggest people to read, of course, read my book, but The Tools by Phil Stutz has a really good stuff on active love in this idea, and it's a really beautiful piece.
Fantastic. And since you mentioned a book, I'd love to tell the readers a little bit more about the book, where they can find it, where they can also find out a bit more about you.
For sure.
As well.
So, yeah, you could find me on Eli Weinstein, LCSW.com. That's where you can contact me on anything. Instagram, Eli Weinstein _LCSW. I have a podcast called The Dude Therapist, because I'm a dude who's a therapist, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube now, thanks to Rainbow Creative, which is my production company. Thank you, Mojo. And my book, From I Do to We Do, How to Navigate Marriage in the Parenting Years, secretly is a crossover book of a parenting and relationship book that's never existed. It's the first crossover book that probably has not existed. If you can find out another book that does, please tell me, because I keep saying that. So fact check me on that. But it is anywhere you want to buy books, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, any store out. And if you live somewhere where you can't get it, email me so I can get my publishers to get it out there to you, because it is important. This book is a practical guide and real honesty of relationships, where I throw myself under the bus. I have a lot of poop explosion stories, a lot of ridiculousness, but also lessons from the last 10 years of working with couples, of real examples and real tips in every single chapter on how to, I'm a no BS kind of person. So it's right to the point. There's cuteness, there's fluffy, there's vulnerability, there's honesty. And it's for the people who are struggling in their marriage because of the reality of kids, but it's also for people who are thinking about having kids or want to have the conversations of what it means when you have kids. Don't wait till you have kids to work on this. But if you're there, get the book. If you're before, get the book. I promise you, it's a really good read. Very, very easy.
Fantastic. And I just want to second that piece around the amount of conversations that are important to have before you have children is vital. I speak to too many men who have had children, and they're like, we didn't talk about all this stuff. And I'm like, And they're like,
Yep.
oh man, we have completely different takes on how things are going to be. And it's difficult
And you're like,
to have
what?
important conversations before having kids. It's so important to do because it creates intimacy and understanding. So I second Ellie's recommendation there to check that out. I finish up by saying big thank you to you, Ellie. It's been beautiful talking to you. I've loved the directness that, comes through on social media as well. The honesty, of what we just need to do. It's just like, go do this, don't wallow. There's other places if you want to go wallow, but this is about making the change in your life that you actually want, doing the work that needs to be done to create the life that you actually want without sitting and wallowing in all the feelings of the past and what your past partners did and so forth. And like, how can we get into action? And I love that. I love that attitude.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate the time.
No, thank you. And listeners, as always, this is probably an episode you want to share with somebody. There's someone out there definitely needs to hear this. It might be yourself. It might be your friend. It might be your friend who's always weaponizing the books they use to tell you how much of an avoidant narcissist you are.
But if you want to weaponize my book, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Just do it. I'll give you full permission.
It'd be good for you.
It means you read it. That's why.
So if they need it, send it over to them. As always, big thank you for listening. And until next week, ciao, ciao.